Welcome back to the National Post Politics Bureau, where we are now watching a Liberal leadership race. We've got Catherine Lévesque, one of our reporters, who's been following it pretty closely. And this week was a big week because we had former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney announcing his candidacy, and we had, I guess they're calling it a soft launch of former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland. She will be in the race. Catherine, first of all, though, how was Mark Carney's launch received by Liberals and everybody else?
I would say very differently from his own soft launch at the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. I think the soft launch was really there to present a different facet of him, someone who's funny, someone who is charming. What we saw in Edmonton this week was really a Mark Carney who was very calm. Some would even say low energy at some points. He cracked a few jokes. He had a few punches here and there for Pierre Poilievre, for Danielle Smith, but even also for Justin Trudeau's government. But overall, he wanted to present himself as someone who is competent, someone who is calm, someone who is not a usual politician, but who is willing to put his name in the race because it is so important to Canada right now. So, look, I mean, we'll see how this goes on, but, he already had one first blunder, which was his campaign logo, which is eerily similar to a logo that already exists. And so I think, there might be a situation where he'll have to change that logo right off the bat. So, again, we'll see what the rest of his campaign is like. I think he's been he hasn't wanted to put out any promises right off the bat. He says he's going to have his campaign promises, in a few weeks. He's going to detail them. He also did not want to say if he would abolish the carbon tax. He hinted that he would do it, but again, very nimble. He wanted to stay on message, maybe a little bit low energy, and ultimately we'll see what the next few weeks look like. Yeah,
Chrystia Freeland, though, has already said, or at least we know from sources around Chrystia Freeland, that she's planning to get rid of the carbon tax.
Yes.
And she's got some caucus endorsements. She's got some names that people might recognize. This might actually be a real fight between the two of them.
Absolutely. I think there was a bit of, we weren't sure at first what the momentum was like with Chrystia Freeland because, around Mark Carney, we were told, he has a lot of caucus endorsement. A lot of people are very excited for his campaign. He's an outsider. That can be debated, obviously. But as for Chrystia Freeland, I think she certainly disappointed a lot of people within caucus when she decided to resign the way she did before Christmas. But at the same time, I think it also galvanized part of the caucus, and what we've been seeing is a lot of caucus endorsements from right across the country, from Randy Boissonnault in Alberta. She's got the chair of the Ontario caucus, Michael Coteau. She's also got, some support in Atlantic Canada, Ken McDonald, for instance, but also in Quebec and also rural regions of Quebec. So, I think she's one to watch, certainly, and I think she'll be spicy in the weeks to come. That's my feeling.
The one thing I've noticed is that the Conservatives are having some fun with this, and when you see what the situation is for them, they've got a prorogued parliament. All they have to do is just kind of snipe from the outside. So I think that's something else the Liberals will have to worry about too, eh?
Oh, absolutely, and just right before Mark Carney's official launch, in Edmonton, they already had put out an advertisement, calling him Carbon Tax Carney, fighting against that notion that he would be a political outsider. As we know, he's advised Justin Trudeau multiple times, whether it was during the pandemic for economic recovery or just a few months ago, he was appointed to that task force on economic growth. So he's been around Liberal circles for sure, but I think certainly the message that the Conservatives want to hammer out is that he is just like Justin Trudeau. And same thing for Chrystia Freeland. She was so closely in the Liberal orbit, in the last 9 years, let's be honest, and more than that, she's been so closely associated to Justin Trudeau. So, I think it'll be a challenge for her to try to distance herself. I mean, I know she's done a bit of that in the last few days by saying that she would essentially scrap the consumer carbon tax. But I think, we'll have to see what else she would change and how she would do things differently if she were to become Liberal leader.
Yeah, her official launch is Sunday, and then we'll be back in this office reporting on what happens after that. So thank you, Catherine, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.